Chapter 6, 147. The answer is found in oneself. Translator. Chibi General Editor. Chibi General. This Strength Path Phantom had a striking resemblance to a youthful Fang Yin, vivid and lifelike, and generally in the same dimensions. It obstructed the charge of the Gu Masters by itself, appearing lonely and insignificant. Isn't this that lad He Lulan's killer move? Mo Yao's will was surprised. Ah, I remember now. You seized his crucial Gu worm, but how did you reproduce his killer move? While she was speaking, the Gu Masters had already reached the Strength Path Phantom. Fang Yuan's Strength Path Phantom could only endure 3 moves before it was torn to pieces. The remaining fist chi was condensing again, but was extinguished by Yeluisang's fire. This demon is a paper tiger, no need to be afraid. The method he is relying on now was merely stolen from Lord He Lulan. This Strength Path Phantom has the form, but at most only has half the strength of Lord He Lulan's killer move. What's there to be afraid of? The group's morale soared higher. They paused for a moment before moving towards Fang Yuan at an even faster speed. Only He Lulan had a bewildered expression and slightly decreased his speed, staying at the rear. Did he use my vital Gu to create this Strength Path Phantom? How could this Strength Path Phantom actually have his own actual appearance? Although his vital Gu had been seized, his injuries had rapidly recovered. Great strength. True martial physique's recovery ability was at the top of the 10 extreme physiques, tens of times stronger than 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King. It was not strange for Fang Yuan to forcibly refine He Lulan's vital Gumper. Fang Yuan was already a Gu immortal, and with the help of immortal essence, this meant an enormous advantage in refining mortal Gu. Fang Yuan's Strength Path Phantom actually had the same appearance as him. This was what made He Lulan extremely surprised. Even if you seize He Lulan's Gu and roughly reconstructed his killer move, your Strength Path Phantom merely has its form, and it might have the ability to recondense from the fist chi. But the difference when compared to He Lulan's genuine killer move is too great, Mo Yao's will bluntly commented. At this moment, everyone had reached Fang Yuan. On the outer periphery, Giant Sun's will had curled up into a ball, moving slowly, waiting for the time Fang Yuan showed a weakness during the chaotic battle to deal a fatal strike. In that case, Mo Yao, open your eyes and watch what happens next closely. Fang Yuan's grin slowly turned into a huge smile. He punched. With the only remaining arm, fist chi surged and turned into a Strength Path Phantom. The Phantom did not pause, immediately pouncing towards the incoming Gu Masters. Fang Yuan punched again. Another Strength Path Phantom appeared, but it was different. This Strength Path Phantom also resembled a young Fang Yuan, but it had 2 extra arms and it was even more powerful. Fang Yuan's breathing sped up as he punched rapidly, the fist shadows interweaving together into a curtain. Boom, boom, boom! Punches after punches in the air sent out cracking noises, producing continuous echoing explosions. Majestic fist chi surged madly, forming whirlwinds. Wind and clouds surged and roared like dragons and tigers. In a blink of an eye, 100 Strength Path Phantoms were created, forming layers upon layers of protection around Fang Yuan. The Gu Masters had just finished off the previous 2 Strength Path Phantoms and were about to charge towards Fang Yuan. But when they raised their heads, all of their expressions turned into great shock. How could there be so many Strength Path Phantoms? One Gu Master's eyes almost popped out. F***CK, there are still more being created. Another Gu Master swore loudly. Fang Yuan continued to punch. Fist chi formed into Strength Path Phantoms as if they were endless. The Gu Masters could not believe what they were seeing. This number greatly surpassed He Lulan's limit. Moreover, it was still rapidly increasing. Within moments, there were already 1,000 Strength Path Phantoms. Just recently, Fang Yuan was alone, but now he had an army standing around him. Are they phonies? A Gu Master was suspicious and felt Fang Yuan was using Gu Worm to create illusions. But the Strength Path Phantom's solid attacks in the next moment gave a painful answer to the group. Kill! We will let you taste our power. These strength path phantoms were actually able to speak and showed extraordinary intelligence. They attacked together, forming an endless stream of humans. The Goo Masters, who were confident in their numbers, were now drowned in strength path phantoms. They seemed to be stranded in a torrential river, suffering the strong attacks of the waves. Defend! Stabilize our formation. They are only strength path phantoms. Damn it! These strength path phantoms can actually coordinate and carry out battle tactics. The Goo Masters shouted one after another. Their formation was like a large reef near the shore. However, after engaging in battle, they discovered that the power of these strength path phantoms far surpassed their imaginations. These strength path phantoms coordinated together and did not care about sacrificing themselves. Although they only had singular method of attacking, it generated an extremely large pressure on the Goo Masters. The Goo Masters' formation soon showed signs of breaking. What killer move is this? My strength path phantoms could not coordinate to this extent. This is simply a relentless army fighting to the death. He Lulan was shocked and uneasy. Fang Yuan retreated while continuing to punch out fist chi. The number of strength path phantoms continued to rise crazily. Your killer move, this killer move, Mo Yao's will stammered in shock. She analyzed. Mortal goo absolutely cannot have such might. You definitely used immortal goo. You still have a trump card that I don't know about? No, impossible. You definitely had refined immortal goo. How could you refine immortal goo so quickly? Fang Yuan laughed loudly. Why do you think I tried to get near to wisdom goo by all means possible? It was to use its rank 9 aura to help me refine immortal goo. If it were other people's immortal goo, it would not be easy to deceive. Thus I could not refine man as before and landscape as before. But it is very difficult for young wild will to distinguish if this aura originated from me. Goo worms higher by 2 ranks or more could pressure others into submission. Back then, on Qingmao Mountain, Fang Yuan used Spring-Autumn Cicada's aura to help him refine goo. That means you had planned to intentionally transform completely with 6-armed Heavenly Zombie King? Mo Yao's will immediately started feeling uneasy when she discovered this. The light of wisdom consumed lifespan, but after transforming into a zombie which was already dead, Fang Yuan naturally could stay for much longer in the light of wisdom. Mo Yao continued to observe and found that Fang Yuan's killer move followed some certain characteristics of strength path. His strength path phantoms normally had 2 arms, but sometimes there would be phantoms with 4 arms, and even 6 arms occasionally. The more arms the phantoms had, the stronger they were. 2-armed phantoms only had average battle strength comparable to 100 Beast Kings. 4-armed phantoms were comparable to 1,000 Beast Kings, and 6-armed phantoms were comparable to myriad Beast Kings. This is simply the recreation of a beast group. When Mo Yao's will became aware of this, her delicate body shivered and said with an incredulous tone, You lad, you actually managed to resolve the age-old question. You have merged the 2 paths of enslavement and strength. Enslavement path controlled a great number of beasts and used numbers to crush enemies. Strength path focused on strengthening oneself, fighting many enemies alone. The essence of 2 Goo Master paths that were polar opposites were now perfectly harmonized and united in Fang Yuan's killer move. Fang Yuan had been trying to solve this issue since long ago, but he made no progress and was even ridiculed and persuaded against by Mo Yao's will. However, he had never given up on his attempts to resolve this. He would never abandon something because of other people's denial, ridicule, and persuasion. The most crucial breakthrough came during the process of Goo Immortal advancement. He used this extremely precious opportunity to advance his strength path realm. Obtaining inspiration from heaven and earth, he abandoned everything else to wholeheartedly seek the answer for the merging of enslavement and strength path. Heaven and earth were completely open to him. He was imparted supreme mysteries. But finally, he also had wisdom, Goo, to thank. Fang Yuan stayed under the light of wisdom for a long time, wasting away his lifespan and turning into one of the living dead. He paid a heavy price, but his rewards were also enormous. Finally, he was able to use his available goo worms to coordinate together and form the killer move. Without investment, how could there be any gains? Of course, he also had to thank He Lulan, thanks to his vital goo, which was one of the most crucial components of the killer move. Besides it, there were immortal goo, as well as many goo worms, which were required to form six-arm Heavenly Zombie King, and in addition, Fang Yuan's second vital goo, all-out effort goo, which played an important role. This was also one of the reasons Fang Yuan intentionally transformed with six-arm Heavenly Zombie King. He needed the goo worms forming six-arm Heavenly Zombie King to make this new killer move. Even if the black coffin luck on him intensified, even if powerful enemies surrounded him, and the wind veil of assimilation isolated everything from the world, heaven would never seal all of one's paths. There was no absolutely desperate situation in this world. There were only people who despair. The answer to resolving problems will always be in our own hands. When we inspect our inner hearts, we will find that the miraculous heavenly power was in ourselves all along. To discover oneself, to recognize oneself, and to rely on oneself. The convergence of enslavement and strength path is an age-old question which has baffled countless heroes and geniuses through the ages. I had never expected it to be perfectly resolved in your hands. Lad, you have ventured on a new road indeed. As you continue to develop this path, you might even be able to truly unite enslavement and strength path and develop a whole new path. This path will definitely have unprecedented strength. Mo Yao's will sighed with deep emotions. Her refinement path Grandmaster Spirit made her not stint on praising Fang Yuan. Ha ha ha! Fang Yuan was just about to reply when suddenly Giant Sun's will appeared right in front of him. It was a sneak attack. During this critical moment of life and death, Fang Yuan moved his head, his vital area, and used his shoulder to bear the brunt of Giant Sun's will's attack. Boom! A huge sound erupted. Fang Yuan was sent rolling to the ground, plowing a gorge meters in length. Looks like there is still quite a bit of your will remaining in my mind. You influenced my thoughts again. Fang Yuan was furious as he saw through Mo Yao's scheme. Mo Yao shed all consideration for face and screamed, "Kid, I asked you to obediently activate Spring-Autumn Cicada, but you didn't give in. Destiny sent you in front of me to give me a chance at rebirth. I will definitely grasp this opportunity. Most of your will and goo worms have been locked in my immortal aperture. Your red date immortal essence is also under my control. You have no way to replenish your will anymore. To influence my thoughts, your thoughts will have to collide. Let me see how long this portion of your will that is hiding in my mind can last." Fang Yuan attacked Mo Yao's will while tightly fixing his gaze on Giant Sun's will. Strength path phantoms soon gathered around him and filled the gap, once more tightly protecting Fang Yuan. Giant Sun's will felt quite troubled. It was okay when Fang Yuan was alone previously, but now he had so many helpers. Giant Sun's will excelled in speed and transforming, but was afraid of expending his thoughts. Fang Yuan's killer move that combined enslavement and strength path was a direct counter to him. No matter how fast your speed is, I will form a tighter defense. You have your countless transformations. I have my self-detonating phantoms. There were way too many strength path phantoms. They surrounded Fang Yuan in layers after layers, not only in all directions. There were strength path phantoms even floating in the sky. There was simply no gap to attack. This killer move actually combined the essence of both enslavement and strength path. These strength path phantoms can not only condense back from the remnant fist key, they can even self-detonate. This kid definitely already had some foundation in this aspect and had made preparations. Otherwise, just relying on the time within the light of wisdom, he absolutely would not be able to create it out of nothing. Right, he succeeded in his goo immortal ascension. It is extremely likely that he received the guidance of heaven and earth during the process of advancement. Damn it! Giant Sun's will pondered intensely before hurriedly stopping his thoughts. There were hardly any left if he thought for too long. A large portion of him would vanish. A chance! Suddenly he transformed into a golden rainbow, traveling nimbly between the army of strength path phantoms and ruthlessly striking at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan grinned. "Old geezer, why are you in such a rush?" He had intentionally revealed this flaw in the strength path phantom's formation. Giant Sun's will fell for Fang Yuan's scheme. Three Strength Path phantoms instantly appeared in front of him. Giant Sun's will thought rapidly, and like a snake, he coiled around too. However, he could not avoid the last Strength Path phantom and directly smashed into it. Boom! A huge sound erupted. The Strength Path phantom was crushed into smithereens. Old bastard, do you really think I am easy prey? I have already waited for too long. Fang Yuan was already fully prepared. He raised his fist and pounded down with all his strength at Giant Sun's will. Giant Sun's will was caught unprepared and shattered